Hello, lovely people. Okay, so I want to talk about children. Okay, so growing up, I was very sheltered. I basically grew up, didn't have many friends, was very, very shy. And in school, I was that girl who sat back and didn't talk. Now, a lot of people thought that I was like scared to talk or something. Quite honestly, I just am wasn't just the quiet type. Like I've always been quiet. That's just how I've always been. Even now, I'm naturally quiet, even though I'm loud and crazy and off the chain sometimes. But naturally, I'm the girl. I'm just chilling. Like I'm really just chilling. I like to listen to other people talk. So, um, I guess that didn't allow for me to make many friends. And on top of that, I don't know. I just didn't know how to be sociable and, just, I can't explain it. But mainly because my parents were very sheltering. And I remember when I was in high school, even, I was in art club. I loved art. And I wanted to go to an art trip to the Parthenon in Nashville. And keep in mind, from where I stay in Nashville, well, from my hometown, Nashville is only 2 hours away. Actually, an hour and a half. So they didn't want me to go. They were like, just very overprotective. Like, as far as riding a bike, had to wear a helmet. Like, of course, that's safety, but it was just so, like, a lot of kids just get out, they fall, they break bones, they scratch up their knees, they just rough and tough. But, I always had to wear a helmet when we got on the bike. If we didn't, we got in trouble. Um, weren't allowed to wear socks on the stairs because we have wooden stairs in this house, and just wasn't allowed to, basically be how children are. So just very sheltered, very, my parents were very cautious, especially my dad. And yeah, so especially with me, they were more lenient with my sister. She was allowed to like go places and stuff when I was the age that she was at. Like, say she when she was 18, she was like allowed to, you know, go places, and when I was 18, I wasn't. And if I wanted to, I had to, just say, "Oh, I'm just going to the store just to, look around or something," just to be able to actually just get out and just do whatever I wanted to do. So, um, I feel like when I have children, I want to just and then like we don't talk openly in this house. Like we don't talk about like the sex talk and the puberty talk is very scientific, very shameful. Like it was a lot of shame. Like I'm ashamed to talk to you about this, but I have to anyway. Like I don't want that in my household. Like I don't want that with my children. Like I want my children to be able to just, um, know everything I know. And like one of my ex boyfriends at the time, um, it was like years and years and years ago. I was like, um, should would you tell your children about condoms and stuff like that, and to and tell them what a condom is, tell them to be safe if they're gonna do anything. He was like, no, because if I tell them what a condom is, they're gonna want to go out and do it. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense because they're gonna be doing it anyway. Because they're gonna learn from either they're gonna learn from you or they're gonna learn from their friends. And so, like, I just feel like you should be open with your children. I would want my children to just, I would want my children to be able to come to me with anything. Like I want to be someone that they can just be like, just talk to me how they would talk to, a friend. Of course, still have their level of respect, but at the same time, just I don't know, just be open and not feel ashamed to talk about anything. I was watching this video on YouTube, and it was called "Ask a 12-Year-Old," I believe, and I assumed that it was his sister or cousin or something. I don't know, but she was asking him what things are lime green and bright purple and vibrate. And he knew what to say. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know, because you didn't know. Like, if you would ask me that at 12 years old, I wouldn't know. Because I just was so sheltered, I didn't know those things. And he was asked, what is a clitoris? I wouldn't have known that. But he was able to say a part of the vagina. Like I would want my children to know that. And he was like, where the baby's coming from. He was able to say, okay, the male inserts into the vagina, they have sex, the male ejaculates, the sperm travels up the canal and fertilizes the egg, baby grows, 9 months later, you give birth. He was able to say that. I would want my children to know all of that. Like I was told, this is what I was told. You just lay beside, a man lays beside a woman and just lays there until ejaculation happens, and then it happens, and then you have a baby. That's what I was told. Like, no, that's not what happens. I want my children to know, you know, that you should have children with the one that you love. I want them to know that, a lot of people out here have children outside of marriage. And although, the right way to do it is, to get married, be financially stable, have a child, and raise that child. I'm going to tell them that, but I also will tell them that, tell them the not so glamorous and pretty side of the story. And also, I would not say, you know what, you're gonna be in trouble if you don't wait to have sex. You're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna be grounded for life. And you're not allowed to see this boy or this girl anymore if I find out that you're doing stuff you're not supposed to do. No, I'm not gonna tell them that because it's gonna make them feel like they can't come to me. It's gonna make them feel like if they come to me, they're gonna be in trouble, and that's not what I want, like at all. So I would tell them that I would tell them that sorry, I got distracted. I get distracted by the smallest things. I would tell them that you know, I'll tell them it feels good. I'll tell them, there's anal sex. You can eat the pussy. You can suck dick. You can do this. You can do that. I'm gonna say the words that we use, between each other. Everyone's like oral sex. Like, of course I'll say oral sex, but then like if I'm talking casually with my child, I'm gonna just be upfront, raw, and uncut, like, cause that's how it is. That's how it is in the real world. When you are with your partner, you don't say, "Hey, babe, could you eat my vagina? Could you perform no? Could you perform oral on my vagina? Could you perform oral on my penis?" No, we don't talk like that, and we don't. So why would I teach it to my child like that? I want them to be comfortable enough to, I don't know. I just want them to be comfortable and not feel uncomfortable in an uncomfortable topic. And usually when you use lackadaisical terms, it just makes everything lighter and not so uncomfortable. So, yeah. Um, what else? Shoot. Oh, so yeah, I was saying like, okay, but I would tell my child, if you're gonna, do this, make sure that you wrap it up. I'm gonna tell them, okay, just because these little girls, or these guys want to say, if you love me, you'll do this. No, like, this doesn't equal love. Make sure I'm going to tell them everything, man. Like, I just want them to know everything. And if you want to do it, make sure that you're ready to do it, and don't do it because someone is peer pressuring you. Don't do it just because you want to prove something to someone. Only do it. Tell them what it really means to do it. And to also, if you have that personality, is to where you want to be a free spirit and you are a very sexual person, I would encourage them to do as they feel. I don't see anything wrong, quite honestly. I'm not talking about underage. Like when they 18 and older, if they have that personality where they express themselves through their sexuality, then by all means, why would I want my child to be something that they're not? Because obviously, um, I'm that way. And then if my children have the father that I think will be their father, that might not happen. But if I think that is going to be their father, you know, he's pretty much like me when it comes to that area. So, you know, they're going to have their parents' genes, and I know how I am, and I know how he is. So, therefore, my children's not going to be that different. So, they're going to be very sexual children. And if not, so be it. But if they are, then I'm not going to scorn them and say you're a slut and a whore. Like, I'm not going to do that. But if they do are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, however old they are, and they start, you know, if they come to me and I can tell that they are very sexual, or if they tell me that they're very sexual people, that they tell me that they're a very sexual person, then, I'm going to just tell them, I mean, do you, but be smart. Don't do it because someone's telling you to do it. Don't do it because you feel peer pressured. Don't do it because you want to feel some worth from a man, or feel some worth from a woman, or something like that. Do it because you want to do it, and do it safely. And don't, do it, and don't tell your business to everybody. I'm just going to tell them to, just do you, but just, be smart about it, basically. And never feel ashamed about what you do. That's how I want my children to be raised, and that's how I want my children to view sex, and that's how I would want to parent my child. I don't want to shelter them. I want to tell them the ways of the world. I want to tell them straight up, 100%. I remember one time when I was younger, I asked what a stripper was. I had heard it on Family Matters, Steve Urkel, and I asked them what a stripper was. I didn't even get an answer. Like, I don't want to be that type of parent. And then I feel like sometimes if you're not that type of parent, your child won't be as wild and want to experiment, want to figure out what all these things are on their own. That's how I was. I was a wild kid and still am. So I want my children to do things a little bit different than how I did, and to go about things in a smarter way. So yeah.